Sport and Specialty is a unique stop that allows us to open up our minds, to see possibilities, to set whatever business model in place that works for us. The current owner was once a client of the current business. And through life and life's journey, an opportunity came for the client to now become the owner. So the client comes in as a fan and as a consumer of the product himself. He expands the business. He triples projects in the shop. He retains staff. He brings on additional staff, but he keeps the core of what Sport and Specialty is all about the same. This is one of the great ones in the aftermarket. Let's chat with Sport and Specialty.
I would say one of the more important things if you're going to get into this business and if you're not going to start from scratch, which is getting harder and harder to do because it just costs a lot of money, is you buy a business from someone, and I think you really have to do the same thing as if you were restoring a car. What is your vision for that business? What do you want it to do? What do you want it to be? And I looked at this business. We were an Austin Healey restoration place, and I said, there could be more than that. And it just grown into more than that, but I had to have the right people. And when I did that, we added, I had to make sure I had the right tools, I had the right manpower, I had the right organizational skills going on. And if you buy the business, you're it. And that's what I learned. I'm an ex-corporate executive. I had people to do stuff. I don't have people to do stuff anymore. So you got to learn to, pull up your pants in the morning and make sure that you're multi-talented. If you need something, you've got to do it. And what you need to do is bring in people that know how to do stuff you don't know how to do. Because I'm not the smartest guy in the shop, I'll tell you that. But I've got guys that are really smart, and they're the ones that make this place happen. When we have meetings, and I talk about how what everybody's jobs are and what their titles are or what their responsibilities are, we've got guys who can do body work, we've got guys who can do mechanical work. My job as the shop owner and really kind of the leader, if you will, or coach, is to make sure that I'm out hustling business and I'm bringing new business in. And I also make sure that we've got the cash to do the business and we've got all the parts and pieces so that my guys, when I ask them to deliver a car and work on a car, they have all the talents, the tools, and the opportunities to do that job. And I let them focus on that. I take care of the rest. This is kind of where it starts back here. Is this way? This is Ryan's domain here. Ryan's the fabrication manager here. So basically, when something comes back in here, he disassembles it, brings the body down to pieces, and from here it'll go out to the stripper, or we'll start the painting process and the fabrication process in this room. This is our mechanical area. We don't do exterior paint here. We do that at another shop that we partner with. But typically a car will come back in the back, we'll put it on a rotisserie, we'll do whatever work we have to do, whatever fabrication, and then it'll come into our room here, and in here we'll start the priming process and we'll start painting the chassis. This is our mechanical area, so we still do repairs here, okay? So we do repairs, we do what little machining that we want to do, we can accomplish here. And then George has kind of got his own area here for rebuilding transmissions, engines, differentials, whatever he wants. Okay, so we can pretty much do one time we painted here too, but we don't do it anymore. But everything is pretty much under one roof. My goal here was to put together a team of people that can do everything. So I've broken it down where I've got talented people who can do body work. I've got talented people that can do mechanical work. I got talented people that are organizationally astute. So I can bring people in. When I first bought the business, we had to build the business. And when I brought them in, I tried to find people who were let's say flexible, that they were trainable, they were flexible, and they like what they do. Because if they like what they do, then we all have a good time doing this, and they're going to learn as I take on new cars, new projects, and new opportunities. I would say probably once we get 80% of the car done and mechanically assembled back here, it'll come out to the front. And in the front, this is where we do the final assembly. We'll put in the interior, the glass, suspension components, anything that we didn't do back there mechanically, drivetrain-wise. We'll move it back, we'll move it to the front, and we'll start doing the assembly here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's just the variety of the cars that come in here. You know, we do the Austin Healey's, the Jaguars, the Alfa Romeos, and that. And then we'll take in a Ferrari in there too. And yeah, it's just the challenge of it. And I've seen a lot in the 41 years I've been in this industry. And it's very rewarding when you can fix things, take on challenges, and end up repairing them correctly and see them down the road.
One of the greatest challenges for builders across this country is that we have an aging workforce. But John has a solution to that. Bring on a young person, get them trained up.
Yeah, I just started out a few years ago and started at the bottom learning and working my way up to doing a little bit of stuff here and there, cleaning parts, working on a rear end now, and it's just fantastic to learn the old style stuff.
How many years experience you have?
41 years.
Let's see, 2016, so this is my 6th year working here. Yeah.
So he's getting there.
He's almost at that threshold, right?
He is. So he's coming along fine. So we'll get him to do my job here shortly.
You know, and this is where the customization comes in. We'll put in, like these two cars are both have air conditioning now for, you know, early 70s GTVs, Alfa Romeos. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. They like that. So that one's going to have air conditioning. This one has air conditioning. The customers have specified exactly what they want. This car, this Cortina, it has an engine being built up in the Pacific Northwest, and then it's going to be sent down here, and we're going to do the final assembly on this with the drivetrain and the suspension. Hopefully we'll get this car out and racing before the end of the season. The finishing of a car pretty much starts when you get the car in. And I think I said earlier that one of the things we try to do is keep the cars organized. We have a build plan. Our operations manager, Ken, and Ryan, our fab guy, and George, our mechanical guy, we work that plan as we go forward. Okay, so one of the keys there is making sure that everything's available when you start putting that car together, so that when you are finishing the car, every piece that you need has been fitted. It's appropriate, and you can get stuff done. Now, there's always a part that doesn't work or something that you weren't able to test, but for the most part, once we bring a car, you know, up into the big shop, if you will, we want to have all those components ready to go. Everything's been either purchased for that car. So when we start doing upholstery, if it's a custom job, it might have to go out to another shop. We know which ones we're going to use, but we monitor that process. So when it comes to finishing the car, it's just as important as when you start taking it apart. But we know what we're going to need and where we're going to need it when we start taking the car apart and when we do our build plan. And a lot of that, again, is based on what our customers are looking for.
Well, when I started here, I was in the back room doing a lot of sanding, worked my way into fabrication, replacing body panels, making body panels, whatnot. And as time went on, I got called up front here to start doing some assembly work. And I've done convertible tops, I've made some tonneau covers, just put the hood strap on this car, and then now we're trying to figure out why we're not getting a Speedo to work here.
Sure, yeah. No, I think a huge part of that actually is at the start with John. I mean, the initial interaction with them and looking what kind of scope they're looking at, it's really helping them understand, especially when you're dealing with cars of this era, that just you have to really get into the car. I mean, the disassembly, the paint, you really see what you're dealing with. So it's a very good explanation of our process, which is why we don't really do like estimates and things like that. It's like we need to see it and get even down to the bare metal, and then we have them come in like you saw in the back with Ryan. So answering your question, that's actually what I think helps on the front end to avoid that throughout and at the end. That it's very clear, and once we get it back there, we bring them in and look at it and say, now this is why this part's going to be this much, or what it's going to take to do it, because now we can actually see bare metal and where it needs to get fixed. So that, to me, it's the upfront. To answer your question, is the key.
But where is this headed? Where are we going 10, 15 years from now in this segment of the restoration market?
I think there's always talk that, people are going to get old and nobody of these cars are not going to be wanted anymore. But I think the cars that are taken care of, that are restored properly, that people spend good money in value and keep the cars on the road, those cars will always be worth money. And I think the piece people miss is crappy cars are always going to be crappy cars. You know, they're just never going to take a lot of value. So if you want a car done, do it right, spend your money judiciously, keep the car running and on the road. You're going to keep your value. Those cars will always be worth money, and they'll continue to, you know, it'd be something you can pass along to your kids.
It's nice seeing customers' reaction once they're done. Just watching them gaze over it, and especially when they bring in a basket case and the products that leave here, it's definitely rewarding. It's nice to see that.
Trees, the country, it's all rural, very rural out here. It's peaceful, it's quiet. Not a lot of traffic on the way in or out. Just not far from home.
How are those winters?
The winters can get bad, that's, yeah. There's some commutes that aren't very fun.
But you do see, maybe in that near future, there's going to be some Austin Healey's with some electric engines, and there may be some with some high performance engines.
It's inevitable. I mean, people have been putting V8s in Austin Healey's forever. I mean, since the 50s. That's fine. They call them nasty boys. They have a name for them and they have a group for them.
So I'll come back next year and see one of your nasty boys.
Yeah, we'll build one for you. How's that?
Hey man, thank you for your time. You and your team have been absolutely amazing. I think you've opened up the eyes of this entire restoration market and letting them know it's not all about Resto Mods. We're still doing restorations.
Amen.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it.
What a masterclass on restoration with John Sacramento, lead restorer at Sport and Specialty. What an amazing team, amazing shop, amazing environment. What a class. SEMA Across America. We out.